please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Captain's Log, Subdates 230202.5. We've decided to take action and remove ourselves from the realm of spoons. We shall instead steal what we need and genocide the rest, with a little-known object called washing up liquid. Hello everyone and welcome to the exhibition of stupid people. Today we're going to start with something I saw via Twitter, tweeted an image of by Orla Seraph. I have a picture of what the aftermath would look like. Let's just say it's human paste, just perfect for spreading on a sandwich, and yes, I am implying that joke. A retweet of Greg, that's one of the gnarliest ways anyone could go out. With replies to Orla reading, we used to get the flight safety accident reports when I served. Deck helmet saved many a bonce from serious damage on engine run-ups. And I'm imagining the trapdoor scene from Evil Dead 2. The image from Greg, the original tweet was, Alabama mother of 3 violently sucked into plane engine was warned to stay back. From the 25th of January 2023. Now I had thought this was a joke. A Poe. Because it had to be. No, it turns out no, it actually happened. Now there is a bit of context. Courtney Edwards, the woman in that picture, was a ramp agent for Piedmont Airlines. An Embraer, if I've mispronounced that I'm sorry, 170 plane, operated by Envoy Air, landed at the Montgomery Regional Airport on New Year's Eve, which had 63 passengers. In a report that was submitted, the aircraft had an inoperative auxiliary power unit. The captain signaled for it to be connected to ground power after arriving from Dallas, opting to leave both engines running for the required 2-minute engine cooldown period. As the captain was shutting off the plane's right engine, he received a message that the aircraft's front cargo door had opened, and the first officer opened his cockpit window to inform the ramp agent that the engines were still operating. Basically meaning, don't go over there. The captain then told the passengers to remain seated until the seatbelt sign turned off, and that his colleagues also said the airplane's left engine would be shut down after it was connected to the ground power. So for them it was quite a surprise when a warning light turned on and the airplane shook violently, which was then followed by an immediate automatic shutdown of the number 1, which is the left engine, because Courtney Edwards was pulled in. I am not the type to mock a person for passing in the slightest. Not the type at all. But I'm certain many of you have a morbid sense of humour, by all means, in the comments. The thing I want to latch onto is the part where someone was instructed the engines were on. Why on earth did they think they could go anywhere near that for their own safety? Part of me has no doubt that somebody's going to see this and think, I'm going to rail on Courtney Edwards. What's the point? No, instead I'm going to point out that there are systems in place, we follow procedures, and in this instance, Courtney Edwards didn't. According to Richard Honeycutt, the Vice President of the Passenger Service Airline Council and CWA District blah blah blah, said that Courtney Edwards represented the very best of the CWA airport members. I could be the only person that thinks this, but that could well be a very inaccurate assessment, and also a damning statement about the other employees, all of whom could well just be lemmings. So moving on from that, I think the discussion of transgender athletes competing in the higher echelons of athletics is going to have to be brought up, because more people are coming forward, and more people are voicing their opinions, indicating predominantly towards an exclusion of trans athletes from competing in the biological sex category that they identify as. And I intentionally said biological sex because that is what many who oppose it wish it to be instead of gender. One of the main reasons why is that over the past 5 years, a number of athletes who are themselves trans have risen through the ranks of certain sports, weightlifting, cycling, swimming, and they in turn have been deemed successful, champions, role models, trailblazers, because they in turn have succeeded where others may not have. But then what has led to a more critical approach to them competing has involved gender, because many believe that they themselves, the trans athletes in questions, retain considerable biological advantages over their female counterparts. female in this instance though being biological sex. This in turn led to a number of changes within athletics, some sports going so far as to exclude those who were trans. Some simply said if your testosterone level was maintained consistently at a certain level for a certain period of time, you would be allowed to compete. But owing to the success of a number of trans athletes, those that are speaking up are being shot down as TERFs or gender-critical feminists and are therefore haram because they are not allowed to speak up on these issues about what it is to be a woman and what it means to compete in women's sports. I saw an article from the BBC concerning a British shot putter called Amelia Strickler, who is a 2-time British champion, a Commonwealth finalist, quite active on social media in fact, who has been quite well outspoken of late concerning the involvement of transgender women in women categories, going so far as to say the effects of the hormones and hormone replacements are not going to take away that male puberty advantage, and it would leave us women at a serious disadvantage. She also said that while conceding she has yet to compete against a transgender athlete at elite level, it is happening at grassroots levels in park runs, club level athletics. It is a ripple effect. One person taking a woman's place and those results, it all matters to people. This will be in elite athletics sooner than we think. What's interesting to me is that Lord Coe, who runs World Athletics, he's the president of it, actually supported swimming governing body's decision to stop trans athletes from competing in women's elite races if they've gone through any part of the process of male puberty. And yet for some peculiar reason, many outlets are still championing the likes of Leah Thomas, whose career will be, let's face it, stunted. Currently, the World Athletics' preferred option is to tighten the sport's eligibility rules, but still use the testosterone limits as a basis for inclusion. A policy document suggesting the amendments was then sent to World Athletics members as part of a consultation process before a vote in March on whether or not to go through with this. I guess the main bone of contention is, much like in videos I've done on Omegon 2, does this take away opportunities from biological women who seek to succeed in their respective categories? And while I fully accept there are not many trans athletes in the first place, this argument is going to continue on until somebody can actually make a decision on it. That decision being, do we have to have another category? Do we perhaps need people to simply accept this as it is? And that includes accepting the identity of the person in your category. Or should we just ban sports altogether? I mean, that seems a lot simpler really, doesn't it? Now to move on from that, I have some sad news for all of you. I know many of you would have gone out of your way to support somebody who made some of the most pioneering of materials. They were a champion for empowerment of women especially, going so far as to tell you what their vagina smelt like, and then sell it back to you for a rather extorted price in the form of a candle, when Yankee jars were cheaper, and I don't think even they could be asked to do that. Although they're really cheap and savers at the moment, seriously. I am of course speaking about the wellness brand run and owned by Gwyneth Paltrow called Goop. A name that does not, for even a moment, make me think of positivity. It makes me think of something sticky. In 2019, Gwyneth Paltrow officially launched her own shop in Notting Hill, quite an affluent area. Yes, certainly those that live nearby would see it as a, well, affordable expense no doubt, until the cost of living rose through the roof and then they realised, actually, you know what, Yankee's better. Originally, the brand Goop was started in 2008 as a weekly newsletter. However, Goop, the lifestyle store franchise, well, in the shop, had to shut because, it lost £1.4 million in revenue, owing to, well, one of the things being the coronavirus pandemic, fake-demic, coofness, any other name you'd like to call it that won't get me yeeted off YouTube, put it in the comments. By the way, just because it's hilarious, there's also a "this smells like my orgasm" thing. Bougie. Oh, it's bougie. I don't want to finish that. Now, it is understood, at present, Gwyneth Paltrow is going to try and mitigate this damage done to her brand. She has taken steps to dissolve Goop Incorporated Limited, which is the company responsible for handling her British store's financial dealings, and then in turn remove it from the official company's house register. It should be pointed out, Goop as a worldwide brand has accumulated over £200 million worldwide, but nobody would go to the sodding stores. Would you like to know why? Because many YouTubers, being the influencer types that they are, bought her crap just so they can review it for the bants on their YouTube channels. I can promise you this, if you give me your money, I will spend it on whiskey and not that. I wouldn't even buy a candle if she told me her vagina smelt like a single malt. After all these years, we know it's a low-grade blend. Now, if you've noticed the theme so far, it is equality related, and as someone that vehemently defends equality under the banner of No Lives Matter, that way you are all identical to me because none of you matter. Oh, that sounded wrong. Vote for me in 2024, by the way, and I'll end you all sooner. There's your equality. I don't like it when someone takes it upon themselves to divide people by things like race. I really don't like it. I think there's no real reason for it anymore, so I don't care for it. To further support this, we're going to use Kylie Jenner to make my point. A rather ugly row has erupted in theatre circles after producers of a new play tried to ban white critics from reviewing it. I remember hearing something similar when Captain Marvel came out, but it was more men were kind of not allowed. If memory serves, I could be wrong on that. The Australian producers of the internationally acclaimed 7 Methods of Killing Kylie Jenner demanded that all reviewers be people of colour, but the Age newspaper's arts editor refused to comply before lashing out in a column. Elizabeth Flux accused Amelia Harris and Layla Enright of tokenism, arguing that being forced to select a person of colour for the task was offensive and undermines the health of the critical landscape. The play was written by Jasmine Lee Jones, and it is about 2 young black women reacting to the claim that the Keep Up with the Kardashians reality star is the world's youngest self-made billionaire. The column also was accompanied by a satirical cartoon that depicted the stage show's 2 lead actors. Unsurprisingly, when it concerns 2 lead actors that are non-white, the theatre group decided to, well, call it abhorrent and absolutely disgusting. The word racist was in there somewhere, I have no doubt, because how dare you be critical. In a Facebook post, they went so far as to say, frankly speaking, this article is dipped in, spackled with, and power washed down with so much fragility. Fragility that has missed the point and self-aggrandized so epically. But by responding to it, you are showing your own fragility. You're just using a different version and interpretation of the word fragility that I've just boing-whipped in your direction. Here, have a mirror, you're going to need it. She chose not to caricature the white producers. Instead, she caricatured the black actors who were just doing their job and had nothing to do with this resign. It's just a joke, bruh. Do you not know what a joke is? If you'd like, ask Def Noodles. He's got plenty of time at the moment. He can tell you what a joke is. This all deviates from the main problem, and that is that rather than being inclusive and welcoming, and that means listening to all perspectives, you've instead gone out of your way to silence voices based on the hue of their skin. That's what you did, theatre company. You did that. Which I find many different levels of fascinating, not least because your entire play is based on, obviously, Kylie Jenner as well, someone who is in a mixed-race relationship and has a mixed-race child. The whole point of being inclusive, and she is very much that, but you're not. That's quite interesting to me. I guess in this context, no lives matter because you say so, unless your life is more important than another, which is the whole point I take away from your rather feeble response to this. And if you are tokenizing those that are allowed to question you about it, which is what you do by devolving it down to race, who's the real racist? The person calling you out for it just because they're white, or the people who tokenize their own skin color, under the guise of diversity, no doubt?